most people don't fail because they lack talent, opportunity, or intelligence. They fail because they give away their evenings without realizing what it's costing them. You may work hard all day, but what you do after work is quietly deciding the direction of your future. Tonight, I want to show you how to take that power back. Let me ask you a question. If success is built one decision at a time, why do most people give away 5 hours every night like it doesn't matter? See, your mornings might belong to your boss, your afternoons might belong to your job, but your evenings belong to your future. And if your future isn't changing, it's not because you don't have potential, it's because you are spending your evenings like someone with no vision. Tonight I want to give you 7 things you must do to stop wasting your evenings after work. Number 1, decide that your evenings matter more than your comfort. Most people don't waste evenings because they're lazy. They waste evenings because they're addicted to comfort. Comfort says you've had a long day, you deserve rest. But growth says you've had a long day. Now build something. Nothing extraordinary is built from the couch if your evenings are designed. For comfort, your future will be designed by regret. Decide once and for all that your evenings are sacred. Number 2, audit where your evenings are actually going. You can't fix what you won't face. Netflix, scrolling, random YouTube, aimless conversations, hours disappear and nothing is created. Oh, don't have a time problem. Oh, have an awareness problem. Rack 1 week of your evenings and ask yourself this question. If I repeated this for 5 years, who would I become? That answer will wake you up faster than coffee. Number 3, stop letting fatigue lie to you. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Oh, we're not tired. Oh, we're mentally undisciplined. Fatigue is real, but it's not the boss. Our body says, stop. Our future says, just start. What is this? Oh, we're never too tired to scroll. Oh, we're never too tired to watch one more episode. That means energy isn't gone, it's misdirected. Number 4, create an evening power routine, not a to-do list. Inners don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. Our evening doesn't need 20 tasks. T needs 3 non-negotiables. Need to learn, need to build, need to prepare for tomorrow. And evenings are automatic, progress becomes inevitable. Number 5, consume less entertainment and produce more value. Entertainment is not evil. Excess entertainment is expensive. Very night you consume, but don't create. All reinforce the identity of a spectator. If the world doesn't reward spectators, T rewards producers. Right, learn a skill. Build a brand. Study money. Raw do something that didn't exist this morning. Value creation is the fastest way out of average. Number 6, change how you end your night. Most people end their day distracted. High performers end their day deliberate. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? What moved me closer to my vision? What must tomorrow require of me? When you go to bed proud, mornings become powerful. And finally, number 7, attach your evenings to a vision bigger than you. People waste evenings because they don't know what they're building. When your vision is small, distractions look attractive. When your vision is massive, distractions look disrespectful. Your evenings are not for killing time. They are for creating momentum. Because one focused evening doesn't change your life. But 365 focused evenings absolutely will. Stop wasting your evenings. Start investing them. Your future's waiting for what you do after work. Most people don't waste their evenings because they are lazy or unmotivated. They waste them because comfort has become their default decision maker. After a long day, comfort sounds reasonable. Comfort feels earned. Comfort whispers that rest is necessary, that tomorrow will be different, that one night doesn't matter. But comfort is deceptive because it never shows you the long-term bill, it only shows you short-term relief. Here's the truth. Every meaningful upgrade in life begins with discomfort. Growth is never convenient. Progress is rarely relaxing. And the future you say you want will always demand something your present self finds uncomfortable. When you choose comfort over intention in the evening, you are not just resting, you are rehearsing the habit of postponement. And postponement, practiced daily, becomes a lifestyle. Your evenings are not neutral. They are either moving you closer to the person you want to become or reinforcing the person you've been trying to outgrow. Comfort keeps you exactly where you are, maintains the status quo. It protects the familiar, even when the familiar is the very thing you complain about. That's why comfort feels safe but produces no transformation. Think about it. Nothing significant in your life came from comfort alone. Skills were built through repetition. Confidence came through effort. Discipline was forged through resistance. Yet somehow, when evening comes, we expect progress without pressure. We expect growth without friction. That expectation is unrealistic and expensive. Deciding that your evenings matter more than your comfort is not about eliminating rest, it's about redefining it. Rest is meant to restore you so you can build, not distract you so you can escape. There's a difference between recovery and avoidance. One prepares you for tomorrow, the other steals from it. When comfort becomes avoidance, it quietly robs you of momentum. The people who change their lives don't wait to feel like it. They act because they decided their future deserved consistency more than their present deserved ease. They understand that discomfort in the evening is temporary, but regret. T compounds. One uncomfortable hour invested daily will outperform years of comfortable distraction. When you start honoring your evenings, something shifts internally. You stop asking, what do I feel like doing? And start asking, what does my future require? That question changes behavior. It reframes effort as an investment rather than a sacrifice. It turns discipline into self-respect. Comfort will always be available. The couch isn't going anywhere. The screen will still be there tomorrow, but opportunity is time-sensitive. Energy fades, windows close, and the cost of choosing comfort tonight is paid by your future self, often with interest. When you decide your evenings matter more than your comfort, you reclaim authority over your life. You stop living reactively and start living deliberately. You begin to see evenings not as something to get through, but as something to use. And that single decision made consistently has the power to change everything. Most people believe they don't have enough time in the evening, but that belief rarely survives an honest examination. Time isn't disappearing, it's being spent quietly, automatically, and without intention. The real issue isn't lack of time, it's lack of awareness. Until you see where your evenings are actually going, you will continue to feel busy without making progress. An audit is uncomfortable because it removes excuses. It forces you to confront reality instead of perception. In your mind, you might think, you only relax a little, scroll for a few minutes, or watch one episode. But evenings don't vanish in minutes, they vanish in patterns. Small, repeated behaviors compound into hours, and hours compound into years. What feels insignificant in the moment becomes decisive over time. When you audit your evenings, you begin to notice how often decisions are being made for you. Algorithms choose what you watch. Notifications decide when you stop focusing. Fatigue dictates your behavior instead of intention. None of this happens maliciously, but it happens consistently. And consistency, even in the wrong direction, produces results. The most dangerous time leaks are the ones that feel justified. I earned this. I'll start tomorrow. I just need to decompress. These phrases sound harmless, but they are powerful permission slips to stay exactly where you are. An audit exposes how often these justifications appear and how rarely they are. Question. Tracking your evenings for just 1 week can be eye-opening. Write down what you actually do, not what you plan to do. Be precise. Notice how much time is spent transitioning, switching apps, switching tasks, switching attention. Fragmented time feels short, but it consumes large portions of your evening while producing nothing of value. You may discover that exhaustion is not coming from effort, but from constant mental switching. Once you see the truth, something changes. You stop guessing and start choosing. Awareness creates leverage. When you know where your time is going, you gain the ability to redirect it. Even small adjustments become powerful because they are intentional rather than accidental. Auditing your evenings is not about guilt or self-criticism. It's about ownership. You cannot improve what you refuse to measure. And you cannot respect time you don't track. The moment you see your patterns clearly, you realize that your evenings are not being stolen, they are being surrendered. And here's the most important realization. If you don't decide how your evenings are spent, something else will. Distraction is always ready with a plan. Entertainment is always organized. Comfort is always convenient. An audit is how you take control back. It's the moment you stop asking where your time went and start deciding where it will go. Fatigue is one of the most believable liars you will ever encounter because it speaks in your own voice. It sounds reasonable. It sounds responsible. It tells you that you've done enough for today, that pushing a little more would be unhealthy, that tomorrow will be a better time to start. And because you are genuinely tired, you accept what fatigue says as truth. But fatigue doesn't tell the whole story. It only tells the part that protects. Comfort. The truth is, most evenings you are not exhausted in every way. You may be physically tired, but mentally alert, or mentally tired, but physically capable. Fatigue is rarely total, yet we treat it as absolute. We let one form of tiredness shut down every possibility for progress. That's where the lie begins. Notice something important. Fatigue is selective. You can be too tired to read, but not too tired to scroll. Too tired to work on your goals, but not too tired to watch another episode. Too tired to plan your future, but not too tired to respond to message, consume content, or stay up late doing things that add no value. That contradiction reveals the truth. Your energy is not gone, it's just being spent on the easiest option available. Fatigue often disguises itself as wisdom. It pretends to be self-care, but real self-care builds capacity, doesn't erode it. Avoidance dressed up as rest will always leave you feeling more drained the next day. That's why so many people wake up tired even after a full evening of relaxation. They didn't restore their energy, they wasted it. Another lie fatigue tells is that effort must be intense to matter. It convinces you that if you can't give 100%, you should give nothing. This all or nothing thinking keeps you stuck. Progress does not require maximum effort, it requires consistent effort. 15 focused minutes beats 3 distracted hours every time. Fatigue wants you to believe it's not worth starting unless conditions are perfect. Growth proves otherwise. When you listen to fatigue without questioning it, you train yourself to quit early. Over time, your tolerance for effort shrinks. Tasks that once felt manageable begin to feel heavy. Discipline weakens not because you're incapable, but because you've practiced stopping more than you've practiced continuing. Fatigue becomes louder when it knows you'll obey it. High performers don't ignore fatigue, they negotiate with it. They acknowledge it. Then ask a better question: what is the smallest productive action I can take right now? That question bypasses the lie. It shifts the focus from how you feel to what you can do. And almost always, the answer is more than fatigue claimed was possible. There's also a deeper layer to this lie. Fatigue often isn't caused by doing too much meaningful work. It's caused by doing too much meaningless consumption. Mental clutter, constant stimulation, and endless input exhaust the brain without producing fulfillment. When your evenings are filled with low-effort distractions, you feel tired but unsatisfied. That tiredness is not a signal to stop, it's a signal to change how you're spending your energy. When you stop letting fatigue lie to you, you regain control. You stop treating tiredness as a command and start treating it as information. Sometimes the right response is rest. Other times, the right response is focus. The difference lies in intention. Fatigue will always try to protect the present version of you, but the future version of you depends on moments when you acted despite not feeling like it. Those moments don't break you, they build you. And once you prove to yourself that fatigue doesn't get the final word, your evenings become a place of progress. Instead of postponement, most people approach their evenings with good intentions but poor structure. They make long to-do lists, overload themselves with unrealistic plans, and then feel discouraged when none of it gets done. The problem is not lack of desire, it's the absence of a repeatable system. A to-do list depends on motivation. A routine depends on decision. And decision, when made once and followed daily, removes the need to negotiate with yourself. Night. A power routine is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters consistently. Your evenings don't need to be packed, they need to be purposeful. When everything feels important, nothing actually gets done. A routine narrows your focus so your energy isn't scattered. It creates momentum by reducing friction, and a momentum is what turns effort into habit. One of the biggest advantages of a routine is that it eliminates choice fatigue. After a full day of decisions at work, your brain is already tired. Asking it to decide what to do next is a setup for procrastination. A routine answers that question in advance. When the evening begins, you already know what happens first, second, and third. There is no debate, no scrolling for inspiration, no waiting to feel ready. A power routine is simple by design. Complexity kills consistency. The goal is not perfection, it's reliability. When the actions are small and clear, they become easy to repeat even on low energy days. That repetition builds identity. You stop trying to get motivated and start seeing yourself as someone who shows up. Another key difference between a routine and a to-do list is emotional pressure. To-do lists grow. They expand endlessly and create the feeling that you're always behind. A routine, on the other hand, has boundaries. Once you complete it, you're done. That sense of completion builds confidence and reduces stress. You go to bed knowing you honored your priorities, not punished yourself with unrealistic expectations. A strong evening routine also creates a rhythm between effort and recovery. It protects you from both burnout and stagnation. Because the routine is intentional, It allows you to work with your energy instead of against it. Some days you'll move quickly, other days slowly, but you'll still move. Progress continues even when motivation fluctuates, when evenings are unstructured. Distractions rush in to fill the space. When evenings are structured, distractions have less room to breathe. A routine doesn't eliminate temptation. It simply gives you something better to do. And when something better is already planned, saying no becomes easier. Over time, an evening power routine compounds quietly. The results don't always show up immediately, but they accumulate. Skills improve. Clarity increases. Confidence grows. And because the routine is sustainable, those gains don't disappear when life gets busy. The routine becomes your anchor. The real power of an evening routine is not what you do, it's what you become. You become someone who keeps promises to yourself, someone who moves forward even when tired, someone who understands that success is not built in dramatic bursts, but in disciplined patterns when you stop relying on to-do lists and start committing to a power routine. Your evenings stop being reactive and start being strategic. And that shift, practice night after night, changes the trajectory of your life. We live in a world that is exceptionally good at keeping us entertained and remarkably bad at encouraging us to create. Entertainment is everywhere, always available, and carefully engineered to hold your attention for as long as possible. There's nothing inherently wrong with entertainment, but when consumption becomes the default activity of your evenings, it quietly reshapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a contributor and start seeing yourself as an audience. The danger is not entertainment itself, but excess without balance. When most of your free time is spent consuming what others have created, your own creative capacity begins to shrink. You get used to stimulation without effort, reward without responsibility, pleasure without progress. Over time, this rewires your expectations. Work starts to feel heavy. Focus feels unnatural. Creating something of value feels intimidating, not because you're incapable, but because you're out of practice. Consumption is easy. Production is demanding. That's why consumption feels relaxing in the moment while production often feels uncomfortable at the start. But the irony is that excessive consumption leaves you drained, while production, when aligned with purpose, creates energy. That's why you can spend hours watching content and still feel empty, yet feel fulfilled after a short session of focus. Work on something meaningful. Producing value does not mean building a business every night or working endlessly. It means contributing instead of just absorbing. Writing a page, learning a skill, improving your craft, organizing your ideas, creating something no matter how small that did not exist before you sat down. Value production shifts your role from passive to active, and that shift changes how you experience time. When you consume all evening, time disappears without evidence. There's nothing to show for it except the feeling that the night went by quickly. When you produce, time leaves a trace. There is progress, clarity, or output that proves the evening mattered. That evidence builds confidence. You start trusting yourself more because you can see yourself moving forward. Another hidden cost of overconsumption is comparison. Entertainment often showcases highlight reels, polished success, and curated lifestyles. Consuming too much of it can distort your perception of what progress should look like. You begin to underestimate your own growth because it doesn't look as dramatic. Producing value grounds you in reality. It reminds you that meaningful progress is usually quiet, mental, and imperfect. Reducing entertainment is not about deprivation, it's about prioritization. When your evenings are limited, every choice carries weight. Choosing to produce is choosing to invest. It's saying that your ideas, skills, and future are worth more than temporary distraction. And once you experience the satisfaction of creation, entertainment loses some of its grip. It stops being the main event and becomes an occasional reward. Over time, producing more than you consume changes how you see yourself. You stop waiting to be inspired and start building discipline. You stop looking for motivation and start relying on momentum. The evenings that once disappeared into screens begin to compound into skills, opportunities, and self-respect. The world already has enough consumers. What it rewards financially, emotionally, and professionally are producers. When you shift even a portion of your evenings from entertainment to value creation, you step into that role. And that decision, repeated consistently, has the power to separate you from the average without requiring anything Extraordinary, just intention, restraint, and action. How you end your day matters more than most people realize, because final moments before sleep don't just close the day, they program the next one. When you go to bed distracted, your mind stays cluttered, thoughts remain unfinished, attention is fragmented. You fall asleep tired but unsatisfied, and you wake up carrying the residue O. F, an unintentional night. Distraction doesn't rest the mind, it delays clarity. Going to bed proud is not about having a perfect day. It's about having an intentional one. Pride comes from alignment, knowing that your actions match your values, even if only in small ways. When you end the night aware of what you did on purpose, sleep becomes deeper, because the mind doesn't need to resolve unfinished internal conflict. You're not replaying hours of wasted time. You're acknowledging progress. Distraction at night often masquerades as relaxation. Endless scrolling, background noise, and mindless content feel like they help you unwind, but they rarely provide closure. They keep your brain in a state of low-level stimulation, making it harder to fully disengage. That's why you can be exhausted and still struggle to sleep. Your body wants rest, but your mind hasn't been given a clear signal that the day is complete. Pride, on the other hand, creates a sense of completion. When you reflect on what you accomplished, no matter how modest, you give your brain a natural stopping point. It recognizes that effort was made, that the day served a purpose. This doesn't require grand achievements. It requires awareness. Noticing one decision you honored, one promise you kept, one step you took forward is enough to change how the night feels. Another powerful aspect of going to bed proud is how it shapes identity. Each night you acknowledge your effort, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who shows up. Over time, that belief becomes self-sustaining. You stop relying on external motivation because internal trust has been built. You know that tomorrow you will act because tonight you already did. Distraction erodes that trust. When nights end in avoidance, you quietly disappoint yourself. Not dramatically, but consistently. And small disappointments repeated daily accumulate into self-doubt. You start questioning your discipline, your focus, your follow-through. Pride reverses that process. It restores confidence one evening at a time. Ending the day intentionally also improves the quality of your mornings. When you wake up proud of yesterday, you don't start the day behind. You start from stability. There's no rush to compensate, no guilt pushing you forward. You move with clarity instead of pressure. Momentum carries over because it was never interrupted. Going to bed proud is a decision, not a feeling. It's choosing to end the night with reflection instead of reaction, with intention instead of impulse, with ownership instead of escape. It's choosing to close the day consciously rather than letting it fade out. When you consistently go to bed proud, evenings stop feeling empty and mornings stop feeling heavy. You begin to experience time as something you use, not something that slips away. And over time, that quiet discipline transforms your life not through dramatic changes, but through the powerful habit of ending each day with self-respect. At the end of the day, the question isn't whether you're busy, tired, or capable. The real question is whether you're intentional, because your life is not shaped by what you plan to do someday. It's shaped by what you repeatedly do in the quiet hours after work. Your evenings are not leftover time. They are leverage. They are the few hours where no one is telling you what to do, where your future is either built deliberately or delayed quietly. Every night you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. You don't need a perfect routine. You don't need endless motivation. You need a decision and the discipline to honor it consistently. Decide that your evenings matter. Decide to pay attention to where your time goes. Decide not to believe every excuse fatigue offers. Decide to show up, produce value, and end the day with pride. If you do that long enough, your evenings will stop disappearing and your life will start changing, because success isn't created during work hours. It's created in the hours most people waste